welcome to the channel. This is Go Battle League In-Depth 17 here, and I wanted to start creating content for Go Battle League, and I wanted to get more in-depth than some of the other creators are. So, here goes nothing. In this video, I was running a team of Mantine, Steelix, and Swampert, and had a lot of success for it. So, here we go. Hopping into the first match, we're going to see Mantine on the lead versus a Swampert. Great lead. Doesn't get that much better than this. In this matchup, Mantine with Ice Beam can threaten the Swampert really badly, so that's the goal, but they switch off into Registeel, gonna switch into Swampert, and going to start likely going for those Earthquakes. Earthquake was unfortunately nerfed, but it's still going to do massive damage to the Registeel. They outpace here, going to go for the Zap Cannon, hoping for no debuff. We do not see a debuff. Going to build up to 100 energy, throw the Earthquake. That way, if they let it go, we can have the most amount of energy possible on the way out of this matchup. We do see the Earthquake connect, knocking out the Registeel. What will the opponent bring in? Are they going to bring in the Swampert or something else? Opponent waiting all their switch clock, and they bring in the Swampert. Hydro Cannon is going to be much more DPE here than Earthquake, which is recently nerfed. We have energy here, so we're going to shield and throw a move and have the matchup play on. Depending on how much energy they have, we may outpace. This Swampert isn't my preferred Swampert. I was unfortunately stuck on Sludge Wave until recently with my rank 13 Swampert, but this one will do. Unfortunately, they make it to the move before us. Hydro Cannon will definitely take us out from here. Hydro Cannon takes us out. We're going to come back in with the Mantine. And Mantine, opponent save swaps into the Mandibuzz. We're going to switch into Hopefully we can just go straight Breaking Swipe and save the shield for the Mantine, just in case we need it. Swampert's probably still going to be doing more damage than the Mandibuzz, even though it's resisted. Shadow Swampert, much higher attack stat, and the Shadow bonus is going to be heavily increasing damage it does. Steelix Breaking Swipe, we get the debuff, it's guaranteed, and we're just going to keep going for a Breaking Swipe here. Breaking Swipe, CMP win versus the Mandibuzz, very helpful there. Breaking Swipe lands, not going to do much, but Steelix will win CMP over the Mandibuzz most of the time, but if they have a Research IV or a high attack stat, it's possible that they flip the CMP matchup there. Mandibuzz is going to be going for the foul play here. They are multiple times debuffed. This is not going to do much at all Steelix, which is already a very tanky mon. Just nothing at all there. We're going to be able to go for another Breaking Swipe in a second once we get there. And it is not CMP. They throw another Snarl there. Steelix Breaking Swipe, not going to be doing a ton of damage, but it does a little more damage to the Mandibuzz. Opponent switches, we're going to counter switch with our Mantine and go for the Aerial Ace. Swampert is likely going to shield here as Ice Beam would almost KO, and Aerial Ace is still going to do a lot of damage. Aerial Ace lands on the Swampert. At this stage, we can simply go for the Wing Attack. Farm down. Swampert is going to get to a move. Hydro Cannon won't be doing much of Mantine's health. It is a Shadow Swampert, but still resisted damage. Mantine easily tanks that. Swampert gets Wing Attack down. In the match, we saw a very favorable lead and a very favorable matchup for us. Most of the matches in Go Battle League are not going to be this easy, but I'll take it, move on to the next match. Matchmaking taking a little bit here. Here we go. Going against D-Do Guzman. Mantine lead is going to run against a Pidgeot. We'll take the lead. It's pretty solid. Pidgeot can hit back hard with both Rayford, and if you shield a Feather Dance, it can be very hard to come back from that just from the double stage attack debuff. Going straight for the Ice Beam here for the super effective damage. We do unfortunately lose CMP. However, Mantine can take any one move here, so we no shield. It is going to be the Rayford. That does do quite a lot, but it's CMP, so we get to fire out our Ice Beam without the Pidgeot being able to switch. This Ice Beam will definitely KO the Pidgeot if they let it go. They do not. They swap out, however. When they swap out into Umbreon, I decide to go into Steelix. Their debuffs are just going to slip this matchup. Umbreon can't really do much against us after it's been debuffed, which is why we're going to shield at least once here. Umbreon is running Foul Play. We're going to hit back at them with the Breaking Swipe, debuffing their attack, and it gives us some time to think about what's in back. So, we've already answered Umbreon, which leaves them lead to lots of types, Electric, Rock, Ice, Fairy, and more. So, what could be in Pidgeot counters Umbreon's fighting type weakness quite well, but the rest of the weaknesses are all covered by steel, so there's a good chance that there's a steel type in back. At this point, I'm hoping I can land an Earthquake. Switch Clock is not quite up, so we don't have to worry about them switching into anything. Umbreon does make another charge move before we throw an Earthquake, or bait. You could definitely bait here, but Umbreons typically don't shield. We're going to let the Foul Play go through, and we are going to go for the Earthquake, hoping it will do damage to the Umbreon that will take it nearly out. Will the Umbreon shield the Earthquake? They do, unfortunately, but we'll still be alright. Umbreon's not going to be able to do a lot of damage back. Oh, they switch into the Pidgeot right away. We're going to debuff them first. Pidgeot, Brave Bird would definitely take us out, but Mantine's already pretty low, and Swampert doesn't have the best matchup against Pidgeot, so that's why we're going to debuff them, making all the matchups that we have slightly better. Pidgeot isn't throwing, so I decided to swap in the Mantine, force him to throw, as an aerial ace will likely take the Pidgeot out. The opponent doesn't know how much energy we have, and this aerial ace is going to land on the Pidgeot. Should take the Pidgeot out from here. Aerial Ace does take the Pidgeot out from here. What will the opponent bring in? Umbreon could get a pretty decent farm down. They bring in a Steelix. Steelix is going to get countered by our Swampert quite well here. Swampert is going to come in, but Steelix is still going to be doing pretty solid damage and debuffs with the Breaking Swipe and heavier hitting damage if they went for the Earthquake. Steelix is going to be going for a straight Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe won't do a ton. We don't have to shield. We can stay in this matchup and go for Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon is going to be much more DPE and much more effective to use versus Earthquake, which is recently nerfed. You're going to want to go straight Hydro Cannon in pretty much every neutral matchup versus any opponent Pokemon with Swampert. Umbreon comes in, throws a move. Swampert can live, but we have energy, and Hydro Cannon will do a lot of damage, and Earthquake will likely take the Umbreon out from here. We're going to go straight for the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will get the Umbreon low. Hydro Cannon puts the Umbreon in the red. It's unfortunately not farm down range, so we're going to switch into Steelix. This Steelix should be able to take the Umbreon out from here after it lives a foul play. Steelix should be able to live the foul play with a decent amount of HP left, and we're going to go for the Breaking Swipe. This would leave the Umbreon quite low, but ideally we'd like to come out with another Breaking Swipe, so I undercharge here, doing my specialty. Undercharge gets the Umbreon low. Fortunately, does a little bit more damage than it would have intended, but we do leave it 2 Dragon Tails, and the opposing Steelix will not be able to farm us down before we get to a Breaking Swipe. This debuff will help us out and assure the victory, as the Steelix will not be able to threaten us much damage with an Earthquake. And Swampert is going to come in. Steelix not going to be able to get to an Earthquake. They could get to 2 Breaking Swipes alternatively, but even so, 1 Breaking Swipe, 2 Breaking Swipes isn't even going to kill KO. Swampert gets to the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon is going to be taking out the Steelix from here. Hydro Cannon does take out the Steelix, and that is the game. As you may have seen, I'm purposely not speeding up these battles, because I feel like analyzing these battles, it's much better for me to do it in the normal speed. I can get more detail in and explain my decisions much more thoroughly versus going through at a faster speed. Hopping into the next match, hoping for some more good lead luck. We're going to be playing Sam Sanchez. Mantine lead is going to be faced with a Lancer. Worst case scenario here. We're going to swap into our safe swap. Steelix. Steelix is going to be able to hit pretty hard versus Lancer, but they swap out into a Medicham, and this isn't looking great for us. Steelix, we're going to go for straight Breaking Swipe here, debuff the Medicham, and at least try and flip this matchup if we can with shields to get our alignment of Swampert versus Lantern, because that's going to be our only win condition here. We're just going to keep going for Breaking Swipes. Is going to throw a move here, hoping they don't have Dynamic Punch here, but I do decide to shield just in case. Unfortunately, they just go for an Ice Punch bait, or they have Psychic. Either way, could throw on 3 Dragon Tails here, but I decide to build up, hopefully going for an Earthquake and taking out the Medicham by surprise. Medicham, hoping they don't hit us with a Dynamic Punch. It is just going to be another Ice Punch. They're likely running Psychic then, and we're going to go and bait them instead with a Breaking Swipe, hoping that we can get a shield from them instead of going for the Earthquake. Medicham, they're going to want to probably preserve switch advantage in a 2, using a shield, throwing 1 Dragon Tail to get the charge move timing down, and throwing a Breaking Swipe. This won't take out the Medicham, but it'll get them quite low. Medicham may be able to farm down. Can we kill them with 1 Dragon Tail? Yes, we can. Steelix flips the matchup in the 1s. That's exactly what we needed. And now Lantern comes in. Lantern gonna throw a move pretty early. I could have gone for the Breaking Swipe there, but we would have lost CMP. So there's not much point unless you shield and you go for an Earthquake, which is exactly what I'm going to do here. Going for the Earthquake, hoping the Lantern can no shield. In this case, we could let the Steelix go down, but a lot of Lanterns don't like to shield Earthquakes on occasion. And boom! There goes Lantern. And in comes a Charizard. Unfortunately, a bit of an overtap there. But the opponent is going to surrender and give us the win there. Games like these is why I like to build up and go for the nuke moves, even when you don't always have to, and it worked out. We battled back really nicely that game versus a really tough lead. Lantern and the Mantine's pretty much worst case for us. Some other electric types are going to do very strong against Mantine, being double weak to electric. Hopping into the next match versus 7 Jackie. Mantine lead versus Defense Deoxys. This matchup is quite awkward for the Mantine, especially if they have Thunderbolt. If they have Rock Slide, it's manageable, but still not great. We're going to keep staying in this matchup instead of switching out, either hoping they don't have Thunderbolt, but also switching out here isn't completely necessary. It's not a worst case scenario, and I like to keep switch when I can. I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace here. 2 Ice Beams gets close to killing, but 3 Aerial Aces will definitely do the job with the addition of some wing attacks. Deoxys does unfortunately go for the Thunderbolt here, takes out the Mantine, and things are not looking good at all. I wait my clock in situations where it doesn't matter as much, just to take a quick breather, but we're going to come in with a Swampert and try and throw the Earthquake to see if we can take out the Deoxys and hopefully flip this match. Deoxys is going to throw a move here. It's likely going to be a Psycho Boost, and since it debuffs their attack, we want to shield the first one. It is a Psycho Boost, and now we can safely go for the Earthquake or go for a Hydro Cannon bait as we do here. Hydro Cannon won't quite take out the Deoxys from here, but it's still going to do meaningful damage. Hydro Cannon, they do unfortunately not shield it, but the attack Deoxys does connect, not quite taking out the Deoxys, but since their attack is debuffed 2 stages, we'll be able to take any one move quite comfortably here. Psycho Boost doesn't do that much to Swampert, and we're able to get the farm down. That is quite good for us. What do they have in back? Hopefully not a grass type. That would not be great for Swampert. Opponent brings in Greninja. We're going to be throwing on the correct timing here, throwing 1 Mud Shot versus a 3-turn move, and then going straight for the Earthquake, hoping for a no shield. Opponent does unfortunately shield it. We're going to stay swap into Steelix, hoping to debuff their Greninja, or get them to switch out, hoping to find anything we can here to flip this matchup. We're going to be shielding the first move, hoping we can debuff them and lower their attack, so their future moves will be doing less damage. Able to get there before they get another move. Breaking Swipe will be doing some actually pretty solid damage for Greninja. Greninja, quite a glassy mon. Breaking Swipe gets them quite deeply into the yellow. Attack foe, and we're going to be able to live the Hydro Cannon quite comfortably here versus the Greninja. Question though is with another debuff, or can we live 2 Hydro Cannons? We're not going to be able to live 2 Hydro Cannons, unfortunately. Can we get to a move? They switch out into a Gligar. We're going to immediately debuff them, as Earthquake would not do any damage to the Gligar. No reason to throw an Earthquake here. Breaking Swipe will debuff the Gliscor instead of the Gligar. Gliscor, a bit different than Gligar, less bulky, has a bit of a different moveset. I would recommend Gligar over Gliscor, but still cool to see one. Gonna be able to go for another Breaking Swipe. Opponent likely trying to farm up 100 energy so they can kill the Swampert. Breaking Swipe gets this Gliscor low. We need to really reach one more before they reach 100 energy or farm us down, but fortunately they throw, and Swampert would not be able to get to 2 Hydro Cannons here. They do have Aerial Ace here. Aerial Ace takes out the Steelix, coming with the Swampert. We really need to reach 2 moves, but we can't even reach 1. It will be another Aerial Ace, unfortunately, taking out the Swampert. I did as much as I could, but the opponent played pretty well. They did their job, and congrats to them. Moving on to game number 5. The final battle of the set and video. Battle has been connected, and we are going to be playing against Otmar 29. Mantine is going to see a Golbat lead. Pretty solid for us, as Ice Beam is going to be able to do super effective damage, and this is actually a matchup where the unintended attack weight is going to help us out. Ice Beam is going to be doing a bit more damage, and perhaps we'll be able to farm the Golbat down, and Ice Beam going to be charging a full here. hoping maybe for a no shield. And the Golbat no shields, we're going to be able to farm them down. But our team did way more than even I was anticipating. I was expecting it to leave it in the yellow for sure, not in the red. Golbat is going to fire back with a Shadow Ball. Mantine lives it quite comfortably, and the opponent has the Charge Bug. We respond with the Steelix, and the opponent is completely walled here. They surrender. That's just how quickly one mistake can really derail a game Go Battle League, but this time we were able to take advantage of the mistake and get a solid 4-1 set. Overall, as the thumbnail implies, I was able to go 21-4, having one of my best ever days with this team. Eventually, I started seeing more Will and Sandslash leads and decided to switch to Swampert lead, leaving Steelix still as a safe swap and Mantine as the closer, and it just worked a little bit better and helped me keep climbing. Well, this was my first video here on YouTube. Hope you like it. Hoping I can do more of these in the future. Tell me what you think, and have a good one.